Hey, welcome back to the channel. As you can see here, we have the all-new 2020 Gladiator in the Gator Clear. It's been kind of controversial about the color because the representation of the rendering on the internet is quite a bit greener than this one has come out. But as you can see, the coloration of grass versus the color on the vehicle is quite comparable. I mean, it's honestly the weirdest thing that I can't even explain, even looking at it through the screen here, how green the vehicle is compared to what it produces on the screen here. But just doing a quick walkthrough because obviously they've only been painted for about 2 weeks. This one was 12 days from Toledo to Texas. I actually picked it up yesterday evening before the sun came down. And at sunset, this vehicle is very tan. And currently right now, it's a light shade of green. If you're from the Southeast Texas area, you're familiar with Crystal Beach. It's if you had a good west wind, it's not quite brown water and it's not quite green water. So it's a little bit in between, but I figured I'd give a reference of exactly what the color looks like with grass to compare. So it's kind of brown, but it's kind of green too. Now going inside, I went with the brown saddle leather, 6-speed manual transmission. Don't know how long that's going to be around anymore, but so far it's been great. It is I'm going to turn down the Pearl Jam real quick. Oops, not even familiar with that. Anyway, it's run by cables. Been also some controversial stuff about that because they say it's not as strong, but I tell you what, if you like the way this thing shifts, it's super smooth. It's like butter. You're not having to, it doesn't jiggle while you're driving around because it's not actual direct linkage into the transmission. So I would say it shifts more like a sports car would. But so far, everything's been fantastic. Seats are very comfortable. Smells like a baseball glove. I think the only thing that I've found the issue with coming from a Silverado is the mirrors don't really show that much out to the side. So if you were buying a Gladiator and expecting to tow with it, you may want to have a kind of an update extension out there. Definitely not wide enough to do long towing. But other than that, shifts great. I would say it's more of a 4-speed with 2 overdrives. I find myself at 65 at about 2,000 RPM and maybe just going into the 5th gear and the 6th gear if you wanted to drop it another 500 RPMs. There's only a couple of I think it's 0.1 or 2 ratio difference between the gearing in 5th and 6th gear. Another thing I will add, this will end up being a situation at a stoplight or a turn, as in my case, but if you do not turn off this auto start system, you come to a complete stop, your RPMs will go to 0, and then you will start to go in 1st gear. And if you are shy on the throttle, like I have been because it's just trying to get familiar with it, the electric motor doesn't catch up with the actual motor, and you end up going rah, 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 rah. And well, basically what I think I'll do to avoid having to buy the $120 option that plugs in underneath here to eliminate this, which basically you can leave that to where it just stays engaged all the time, is whenever I start the vehicle, I will push that at the same time. So far it's worked very well and I haven't had any issues. Also, what I've done is I've gone to the settings here and you go down to I don't want to waste a bunch of time doing this, but hill safety and start right there, the start assist right there, basically that engages the brakes momentarily when you release off the clutch. So if you were on a hill or a decline, or an incline or decline, you wouldn't have that hesitant roll. It's more of a free feel. Basically, if you push in your clutch and you don't have the brakes on, your vehicle will start to go free coasting if you don't have that selected, which I do not. If you do select it, there's a momentary about 3 seconds worth of brake hesitation, which you would have to override with the engine, but it keeps you from having to worry about going in reverse traffic if you were at a hill and a stop sign. But other than that, it's super quiet. Going down the road, of course, I do have the Falken MTs. They're pretty quiet up to about 65 miles an hour, and it's somewhat noticeable in the cab, but it's not anything I'm can't get used to. It's a Jeep. But as far as quiet in here, it's hard to hear the throttle. And I've seen a few of the YouTubers have already removed their exhaust, and that may come. I did have basically no exhaust on every vehicle up until I turned mid-20s and I realized that it's kind of obnoxious. But you know, I may just keep it that way. But I figured I'd do a quick little video to start out our rig. We're at day 2. Probably going to be coming with a lightning rack system, some sort of rooftop tent, and go to places that aren't so flat. But that's going to be it. If I'll probably list my build information there, because basically this is everything minus seat warmers and the whatever the highway maintain speed thing that goes in the mirror. I don't think of it offhand because I didn't even look into it. But yeah, considering I had to wait to the end of the year for something I've been waiting for since April, it went into order at 9/23, went under build 10/23. By 10/25 it was in inspection. By the end of that Friday, I think it was 10/27, it was on a train headed to Texas, and then showed up a couple days later. So very impressive. So happy with it so far. Coming from a Silverado, I thought it was going to be underpowered. It is not that. Of course, I wasn't towing very much, but got lights going on in here. Got the plug set up there, so as you can see, it's not a bad setup. The day that I did go to buy it, unfortunately, I guess there was surplus of these soft tonneau covers and soft tops, and the only way to order this Gladiator that day was to purchase a soft top and a tonneau cover at the same time to lock in the thing. So they got me, but the guys were great at the dealership. I can't thank Winnie Dodge Chrysler Jeep enough for their patience and willing to work with me, because ended up being something that, hey, I kind of like the tonneau cover. Probably not going to work good with a rack, but you know, we'll see. It's it was not an unfortunate upgrade. It just was a circumstance of, if I wanted to order that day, I had to get those two things. So other than that, if you have any questions, leave them below. I hope to have a lot more content. I apologize for doing this on my phone and not having any kind of audio dead cat system to cut down the wind noise or my gimbal or anything to make it not so shaky. But yeah, if anybody's curious, the price, list price was $56. I did not pay that. It was quite a bit under that, but you know, you can get pretty much what you want without having to pay all the money. I did look at the Sport package, or the Sport S, and getting all the upgrades to this, and it kind of came about the same enough to where just getting the Rubicon and having that underneath a note instead of actually paying out of pocket for any upgrades, I figured that was a smarter move. So if you have any questions below, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, ring the bell. Have some more information soon. But yeah, that's it. Sorry for it being just kind of a one-off. I usually try to rehearse this a few times before going through, but that's going to be it for today, just to get a little bit of the Gator out there on the interwebs for all the people who are curious about the YouTube. By the way, when I walked up there, a Jeep dealership full of Jeeps, this one was sitting out there. That's the color that you want. I mean, dead serious. In a dealership full of Jeeps, that was the coolest color sitting on the lot. And it showed, because by the time I got there, there was 5 or 6 people standing around. So I do believe this is the first one in Southeast Texas. But anyway, if you like the Gator, if not, it's going to be a great truck for just about anything I need. It's a little bit smaller than what I'm used to, but it'll be all right. Thanks for watching.